What's happening, Wanda B?
Hey, E-Dub,
This is
how
E
are you?
Dub Earl Winfrey, and this is something new, y'all. We trying. This is called Ping Pong News, right here on intellectualradio.com. Why do we call it Ping Pong News?
Because we like to bounce things off of people.
That's good. That's good. But also because it's on a ping pong table. So it's two things:
Oh!
bouncing back and forth, and also it's a ping pong table. Now today we're gonna be discussing three things today, three topics. What are they, Wanda? B.
I'm still amazed. Can I go back to who else has news on a ping pong table? This may be a first.
This is the first. Well, most of the things that we do at intellectualradio.com are first. You know that. I mean, we've been doing first for the past 8 years. So let's talk about. So what are we going to
So
talk?
today
What are we going
on
to discuss
ping
today?
pong news, what we plan to bounce around is the Amber Geiger trial and the results of the trial. Also, the noise about the hugs by the judge, the hugs by the deputy, and the hug by the brother. And then we're going to give you the movie releases for October. There's some fun movies coming out, so we're going to drop some dates and time you can make some date plans to go see some movies.
Now let's talk about Amber. So anyway, so let's talk about this case. So actually, what happened, or what is allegedly that she says happened to cause the death of both and Jean?
Brief recap. Amber, after a long day of work, got off on the wrong floor, went into the wrong apartment. She thought it was her apartment. She went in very surprised to see a man eating ice cream on the couch, and told him to show his hands. He didn't show his hands, and she shot and killed him.
So because he did not show her his hands in his own apartment, she murdered that man.
She murdered him because she felt that he was in her apartment. That's what she said. That's her allegedly. That's what happened from her aspect.
Okay, well, I like to just give my take on it.
What's your take on it?
I do not, and I want to go on the record in saying this, I do not believe any of that story. None of it. Unless she was smoking crack, but she had been drinking all day on the job, then maybe I will buy it. But if you're telling me this girl was not high, she was not on crack, cocaine, she hadn't been smoking meth, I don't believe any of it.
They said toxicology reports were done, and she was not found to be high, intoxicated, or have anything in her system other than what she says is being exhausted from a day of work and coming home and being delirious. Now, they did mention that she may have been, she didn't have the wherewithal to tell that she was going to the wrong door. The door was ajar because people have asked, how did she get in? What with the wrong key? How did she get in? They have at that apartment complex have some issues with their doors closing
Well,
all
you
the
know
way.
what? I've also heard some feedback from some of the neighbors who said that there's no way possible under the sun that that door could have been ajar.
Okay.
So again, allegedly, the door was ajar.
Allegedly, all of this is only from Amber Geiger's
Right.
testimony. We have nothing to refute anything she says, and the things that we would have to refute it have actually been erased, or she erased her text messages after this. The phone calls that she made, they have not released what was the what was in the phone calls that she made, other than to the police when she did call and say that she thought she was just crying and saying that she thought she was in her own apartment, and she had murdered him.
Well, again, I like to say that I believe that it's totally fabricated.
Are we? Are you willing?
I don't believe any of her story.
Are you willing to bounce off of us what you think, what you believe may have happened?
Well, let me just say this right here. I think that some people are just pure evil, and I think that their mind is just beyond comprehension sometimes. And I don't think that we, as African Americans or decent human beings, can really even conceive what was going on. I mean, we just have no idea. But I think that it was something truly evil involved.
And to murder someone and not have the to ask questions, not go straight to kill when you're not presented with a gun, a knife around your neck. You're not presented with a threat.
You
To
shot this
go to
man in
kill
the
is
heart.
evil in itself.
You shot this man in the heart in his own apartment. That is truly evil. There are so many other things that she could have done. She could have just backed out. She could have called for help. She could have asked, "What are you doing in my
Why
apartment?"
didn't she scream? If
She could have
I would
screamed.
let me walk into an apartment and there's a man in my
You know
apartment,
what?
people will hear my screams because I want help right away.
Again,
I don't pull out a gun to kill.
I don't believe any parts of that story. I do not believe that the door was ajar. I do not believe that she feared for her life. I do not believe that she thought she was in the wrong apartment. I don't believe any of it. But what happened? I can't say. Maybe I hate to say it, but maybe she was just initiation to get into the club.
What club?
The club. Kill a black man club. I don't know.
That
That's
makes
what I'm
no
saying.
sense.
It's evil. It makes no sense to you, but what I'm saying is, see, you know, things like that makes no sense to people who are not evil. But it makes sense to people who are evil.
Well, I would, and this is all everyone's. I don't believe it. I don't know. We all don't
You
know.
don't know.
But to be that, it's smarter ways to do that, and that's the one why I don't. That makes no sense to me.
Well,
That you
maybe
could do that without having
it
to
was, maybe
face
it was
the
just
consequences.
botched.
Killing a
Botched.
black man is pretty
You know
an
what?
offense you can get away with very easily
Well,
without having to do any jail time if you just
like I
chose
said,
a different
it's just
scenario.
thought. I have no idea. I have
Unfortunately.
no idea. All I know is I don't believe anything surrounding this trial. I don't believe anything. Everything that she says, I believe is fabricated. Now let's talk about the trial itself. What do you think about the trial?
What do I think about the trial? I think I was I was happy about the verdict of murder.
Very happy.
And so I did feel that justice was served. I felt at least it had the possibility of being fair when I saw that the jury makeup was was made up of more of her actual peers
It was
of
about,
both people, the
I
victim
think
as
it was
well
like
as the
5 African Americans, couple
which is
Hispanics,
not
couple
usually
whites.
done.
The case.
So that led me to, and not I guess not necessarily all her peers, but the peers of the victim as well. So that gave me promise. That the judge was African American gave me promise. But after the murder verdict, and I heard what the what she could be convicted of was 5 to 99 years. I thought, oh well, she probably will get the lesser
Well,
of
I actually
out of
thought
this.
she was going to get approximately 25 years. That's what I thought. I think the prosecutors would call him for 28, something like that, for every year of his life. But I thought she was going to get about 25. So, 10 was kind of low. But if you look at the history of officers being charged, if you look at that, 10 was high. 'Cause
I,
Jason Van Dyke, he shot the guy, 16 times? And what did he get, 5 years, something like that? 6 years?
but she only has to serve. I think he has the truth in sentencing, or for whatever, however it works out. Or no, I don't think he has to serve all his 5, and she doesn't even have to serve all her 10. So she only has to serve 5.
Which is,
She'll be 31 when she gets out.
that's totally, totally, totally sad. She'll be 31.
She's 26, 27 now. So if she gets out 5 years, she can lead a.
That is a travesty. So 5 years for the taking of a human life. Let's not say black or white or yellow or green. 5 years for the taking of a human life. Now, who do you know of, or have ever heard of, a person getting 5 years for taking someone's life?
Right now, here in Chicago, there's a case of 2 boys who killed someone. They took a life, and they have a life sentence. So,
Which is pretty normal.
which is normal. Not that they should get a lesser sentence, but just saying for the act of murder, when you're faced with 5 to 99 years, coming out with 10 is not right.
I think we need more fairness in sentences. the guidelines, it should be like standard across the board. There should be no 5 to 99. If you murder someone, I don't care who you are, you're getting 75 years. It's just across the board. I don't care what color you are. I don't care about the circumstances. If you murder someone and you're found guilty, 75 years. End of story. You know what, the judge, I'm the judge, but you know what, that's the law. I ain't nothing I can do. Law says 75, I got to give you 75. That's the way it should be across the board, in my opinion. Then you're going to have fairness in sentencing.
If the sentencing is fair, then you have fairness in sentencing. Right. The sentencing is not, it's all subjective over, is like they start calculating, subtracting, and adding, and they make the rules even to how you determine the calculations. And so because of that, it does not seem fair. But it would be fair if they just said murder alone gets you at the minimum 25. It shouldn't be murder is 5 years.
Exactly.
It's no way that murder should be that minimum.
Now let's talk about this. Now this really pissed me off. This pissed me off. The hugs.
The hugs. If you can't read our little cue notes here as we ping on Pong on the table.
I'm about to throw up on this ping pong table.
Oh, don't throw up on the ping pong table. I don't feel like cleaning it up.
You know what? Why on God's earth would you hug someone who just murdered, not just murdered, but murdered your brother?
I was going really hard on this brother until I looked at the whole scenario for the brother. I found out he's only 18. So your viewpoint of the world, you're not maybe knowledgeable of how this world, and he's not from the United States. So honestly, his people don't come from a long line of mistreatment. The way your feeling for the police may not be the same or for people of other races than ours might be. We're pretty, seeing we dealt with that slavery stuff, we're kind of, we feel the ramifications to this day, and he hasn't really grown up in that. So I couldn't hug anyone that killed my brother. I'm sorry, no way. Or if I could forgive them. And I think that's where a lot of the problems I've seen, if people are following this on social media, people are really angry at people for not understanding forgiveness, and he did this as an act of forgiveness. But I feel like forgiveness is for you.
I understand forgiveness, but that's something that's something that you can just do in your heart, in the privacy of your home.
I totally agree. That's what I was saying. That
when I go to the crib and say, you know what, hey, you know what, I forgive you. Let me move on. I
don't have to hug you in a spectacle.
But I'm not hugging you.
I'm not gonna hug you because forgiveness shouldn't absolve that person of guilt.
Right.
And in that moment, that was the wrong moment to be hugging her because it set a precedent. It was too many people watching. They could have went to the quarters if he wanted to do the hug. That was not the moment after just getting such a low sentence.
And to top it all off, the judge came off the bench.
Now, to me, that should be against the law.
A murderer.
You should
Convicted
not
murderer.
Show favoritism like that to this boy that just got charged with murder yesterday. I didn't see the judge get down and hug him.
And see, to me, that shows bias right there. That shows bias. So if you're gonna show that type of bias after the trial, to me that says you probably show bias during the trial and prior to the trial.
And that's where you should never show. And I don't know the law, and hopefully I can read up on this further from some lawyers to tell us. It seems like no judge should show their sympathy to people on trial. Either way, they should be neutral. And have feelings, because now it does seem like you had no neutrality through the whole case. If she didn't even hug Botham John's mother, she's the victim.
She did.
The judge did.
Actually, a lot of people were saying that, but then they showed some pictures where she did actually hug them up.
The judge hugged his mother.
She did hug them. Yes, she did.
Okay, well then, at least make it fair.
But how many convicted murderers have she hugged in the past?
I don't know her.
I'm willing to bet you it's probably 0.
You can't bet us because you don't know. That's not a smart bet.
Personally, in my opinion, after the hug, if it was me, it's not me. But if it was me, I'd be hollering mistrial, file, mistrial. Let's do this all over again, mistrial. Because number one, 10 years way too low. Then the hug, to me, it shows to me that there was some bias involved in that trial.
You can't say mistrial when the verdict was done by the jury, not the judge.
I know you can't.
You can't say mistrial when the family is okay with it.
You know what?
They would have to be the ones to protest. They're
If
hugging her too.
what I'm saying is, if it was me, if I could, if I had the option, if I had the opportunity, I would call file mistrial. File mistrial.
If your own son hadn't done hugging too, maybe you could. But when your son started off the hugging session, that kind of skewed everything because they all sound very apologetic. They feel sorry for her, and I know people said I didn't hear, and I will have to go back and look. I didn't see where she specifically apologized to his family. I'm sorry I murdered her. Felt where she felt remorse for getting in trouble from it.
If you're sorry, if you're so sorry, why not just plead guilty and throw yourself into the mercy of the court?
I said that earlier, that I feel like if she was truly sorry, there would be no need for a court. You would never plead innocent.
Right? Why would I plead guilty why would I plead not guilty if I know I committed the crime and I'm sorry?
Why would I say I'm innocent? I did it, and
Right,
then say I'm
exactly.
sorry. They're not would understand giving her 10 years because she fell on the sword. But she almost made him sound like he didn't obey her, and so I had to kill him. When I told him to show me his hands, he didn't show me his hands.
It's just a sad, sad story all the way around.
She did. She barely offered CPR. So once you,
She didn't.
if you,
She said, they all asked, did you perform CPR? A little. What's a little CPR?
I don't know. And if you are trying to revive someone, immediately you're calling for an ambulance. You're
I would
not
have
getting
been
on a
like,
personal
can you
phone
please
call.
demonstrate for us what a little CPR is? We have a dummy on the floor right there. Show us what a little CPR is. Okay.
A little
Back to texting.
A little CPR is checking his pulse. Oh, he's dead. That I think that's as far as she went, was to check his pulse to make sure she killed him.
I truly believe as the time goes on, I think the more things are going to come out about this case that we are unaware of. And I think there's going to be some shocking revelations as the days go on. Now let's get into something else because I'm sick of Amber. Rest in peace, both of them, but I'm sick of you, Amber. Okay, let's talk about what's coming out in the movies.
What's
We got
coming
a bunch
out
of
in
movies coming out. Let's talk about it.
Coming out.
Now, before you start, I want to just say this right here. To all you black folks, if you're upset, keep your money in your pocket. Because we're about to give away $1 billion this year for Christmas watching these movies.
If you're upset about what?
About Amber.
Does that?
If you're upset about this entire case, keep your money in your pocket. That is your power. But if you're not upset,
Then
well,
you may want to go out and see the Joker.
The Joker. Now, when is Joker coming out?
Joker comes out today, actually, in the movie theaters. It's obvious it must be based on the Batman saga.
No, I'm not sure. Did you hear the news surrounding that movie?
No, I didn't.
They wanted to ban that movie.
Why?
They felt that it was going to incite violence in the communities.
Why would it?
They just felt that way. They felt that it was a very, very violent movie, and white supremacists might take that as a call to hey.
Oh, because it was violent. Well,
Right.
it's Oscar nominee Joaquin Phoenix is the title role alongside with Robert De Niro, and it's directed by Todd Phillips. The Joker centers around the iconic arch nemesis and is an original standalone story not seen before on the big screen, it says.
The Joker.
The
Check it out
Joker.
if you like.
So, another movie that is coming out is, besides The Joker today, Magnificent.
And what the hell is that?
That is a story about the lady from the 101 Dalmatians.
Okay.
Okay, you're not. I believe it's probably a children's movie. The Disney Magnificent, the mistress of. It has Angelina Jolie starring in it. And I think there has been another one, so I think this is part 2. Then that comes out October 18th. October 11th is Will Smith. I think you may mention you kind of like this
Gemini.
movie. Gemini Man.
Now, here's the thing. Now, see with me.
Let me tell him what it's about.
Tell them what it's about.
Gemini Man is an innovative action thriller starring Will Smith as Henry Brogan, an elite assassin who is suddenly targeted and pursued by a mysterious young operative that seemingly can predict his every move.
Wow.
It's directed by Ang Lee and renowned producers. Oh, it's a lot of them. And so That one comes out October 11th. Now, what do you feel? What were you about to say about
Now,
this?
I've seen the previews of that movie, and I have to say it looks very, very intriguing. There's something that I might want to see. However, like I said, you know what? I choose to keep my power in my pocket this year, and I want to watch it. This is probably gonna be on fire stick. 'Cause it's not that I'm not supporting you, Will, because I love you, but it's just that you know what? I think it's time that we show how we feel about what's been happening in society by keeping our power in our pocket. So my plan is not to spend one single penny this year on Christmas. Now
Well,
you
why
can
don't
make
you
it.
make a movement of that? Because if it's just you, it doesn't. They don't feel the impact.
Well,
You
I'm
should
hoping.
start revving up other people
I'm
with you
hoping it's
to
more than
make them
just me.
feel.
I'm hoping it's more than just me. I'm
But
not spending any money for Christmas. I'm keeping on. I'm not gonna stand in line at Best Buy. I'm not gonna stand in line at the movies. I'm just not going to do it. I'm gonna stay home, relax by the fireplace with my family, watch what It's a Wonderful Life,
you gonna watch that?
watch that, and just relax with the family and keep my power in my pocket to send a message that you know what, I'm not happy with the 10 years and the no charges, etc., 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 etc. So this has been Ping Pong News right here on,
Intellectualradio.com.
and we hope you enjoyed this segment. You know what, I know it's brand new, y'all, so it's gonna be some kinks, but you know what, we're working the kinks out as we play a little ping pong. Peace.